I'm Chad, and this is my 2020 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter 2500. So I've been renting cargo vans to get out to the racetrack lately, and there came a time where I had done 2 in a month, and it cost me about a little over $600, and I was like, you know what? Would it make more sense for me to have my own cargo van and not have to pay for a rental every time I want to go to the racetrack? And I decided the answer was yes. So that led me to purchase this beauty. Again, this is a 2020 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter 2500. This van is optioned with the high roof, and it is the 144-inch wheelbase, so the shorter wheelbase. It was brand new, had 12 miles on it when I bought it. It has a 3-liter turbo diesel V6 that produces 325 foot-pounds of torque and 188 horsepower. Now that we're all opened up here, you can see we've got the big sliding door. Looking inside, we've got the racetracks mounted up high. So I've got hooks on the way for those. That should allow me to secure my ramp vertically up against the wall in here, which will be nice because that'll free up some floor space when the bikes are in here. So I parked a little bit too close to this bush, but the doors do actually swing out all the way to the side. Well, this one does, this one doesn't quite. It goes pretty close, but not quite all the way because obviously it has to leave room for the sliding door to open. But pretty nice, very convenient. So my van, in terms of cargo options, has this awesome cargo partition. It's also got flooring put in, and that's an option. And the hooks are actually standard, which is really nice. I think the hooks are pretty common practice as standard equipment for most cargo vans, but still nonetheless really nice. Also got, stepping up back in here, the LED lighting. That is also a factory option and quite nice. Does a really good job of illuminating the van, making everything very visible, whether it's dark or light. Peeking in through the window here, you can see into the cab. One of the biggest things with this, I am 6'3", and I can totally stand up and walk around in here and not hit my head on anything. And that's awesome because the transit van that I'd rented in the past before I started renting the Sprinter was a 250 with a medium roof, and I had to duck a little bit, and that was kind of annoying. So it's really nice, and there's just enough space where even if I were to, I just missed that, but even if I had my boots on, I would still be able to walk around in here and be pretty straight up, which is, being a tall person, extremely valuable to me. I like not hitting my head on things. So it's great. It's perfect for everything that I think I'm gonna need to use it for. Should be able to get 2 to 3 bikes in here and a couple people's worth of stuff. So I'm excited. Well, let's take a look at the cab and show you guys what's going on in there. Before we hop up into the cab here, just take a look. It's keyless, which is really nice. I didn't know that that was a feature on cargo vans, but it is with a Mercedes. Yeah, so pretty nice. The leatherette is a nice quality. It's not crappy vinyl. It feels really nice. Climbing up in, you sit pretty high up, but I've actually found that I really like this. Aside from the leatherette seats, which were an option, there are a few others in here. This center display is part of the Distronic package, as well as this leather-wrapped multifunctional steering wheel. So this van has adaptive cruise control, or the radar-enabled cruise control, which is really awesome and will make for some very comfortable driving back home after a long day at the track. The center menu has this little navigation pad right here, detects swipes, so you can swipe through all the different features and information that you can display here. Go back, cycle in through a few other things. We have additional controls for calling, volume adjustment for music, and this is cool because this pad controls the CarPlay. So I'm gonna try to get that in one shot. You can go back here, go to your navigation, which is pretty cool. Go back so you can find cool points of reference like gas stations, parking, etc. Back over here, you can go to the menu and see what other apps are available. So this was huge for me. I really wanted to make sure that I was buying a vehicle that I was going to be comfortable with and was going to keep me comfortable on longer drives. And I wanted, again, just be comfortable the whole way there. I want to make this as easy on myself as possible because I want to be able to save my energy and expend it in riding, not on stressing out over driving. Something that you can't tell right here, but this van also has blind spot detection and monitoring, which again, I really appreciate. This is a pretty big van, and obviously the visibility behind you is not great. Although these mirrors, I use the convex mirrors for pretty much everything. This is just to really tell me if I have something in my blind spot or not. That's really all you can see as a part of your blind spot. But using these convex mirrors is a game changer. It's super helpful. And then just having the blind spot monitoring as well is very nice. Got your climate controls. With the partition, it cools off and warms up in here pretty quickly. And there's some other safety features as well, I believe. Distraction monitoring, I don't know if that's the correct way that you say it, but it will alert you if you are becoming distracted and give you a little warning. It has braking assist. I think I covered the spec sheet. Actually, one thing I am forgetting, power folding mirrors, baby. We're rolling in style. Enough about the features. Let's get out on the road and take it for a little drive. And let me tell you guys a little bit about what that's like, because I'm willing to bet not a lot of people have driven a cargo van in their life, but I'll tell you what, I really like it, and if you give it a shot, I think you will too. All right, so taking off in the 2020 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter 2500 with the high roof and the 144-inch wheelbase and the 3-liter V6 turbo diesel. What's it like to drive? It's actually pretty comfy. It's not what I was expecting the first time I hopped in and got behind the wheel. You know, you look at cargo vans and you think they'd be big and clunky and just really cumbersome to drive, and the Sprinter really isn't at all. It just feels like a really, really, really high truck. So obviously you sit very far forward. I'm just behind the front axle, and you've got a lot of van back behind you, but it's pretty easy to manage and feels really nimble for what it is, I think. The steering feels nice. It's pretty light. I mean, lighter than I think you would expect from a big heavy-duty vehicle like this, but it's not too light. Not like paper light to where you feel totally disconnected from the road. The chassis feels pretty good as well. It feels pretty rigid. The brakes work pretty nicely. You know, I feel about as confident slowing this thing down and stopping it as I would in just a standard passenger car or a truck. It doesn't feel like it's lacking stopping power for what it is and the kind of driving that it's meant to be doing. The one thing that I will say is the brake pedal does feel kind of spongy up top, and the pedal's pretty soft when you, for the first, I'd say like inch or so that you press it. But once you get there and you're making some good contact, pads against rotors, it has a good feeling to it. It just, you know, again, takes that getting through that initial bite to get there. But yeah, for the most part, it's pretty comfy. I mean, I've had it on the highway, I've had it just on surface streets, and it feels good. I mean, it rides pretty smooth. The seats are pretty comfortable. So as I mentioned before, this van has a 3-liter V6 turbo diesel engine. So it produces 188 horsepower, according to the spec sheet, and 325 foot-pounds of torque at 1,400 RPM, which is pretty impressive, I think, based on my standards. I've never heard of an engine producing so much torque at such a low RPM that wasn't a super, super, super crazy high-performance sports or supercar engine. And this thing pulls off the line pretty nice. It feels very strong, and I don't doubt that it's gonna have no issue carrying 2 or 3 motorcycles and all of my stuff and all of a second person stuff if it has to. Do a little acceleration here, show you the torque of this turbo diesel V6. And that's 60. Obviously, not the fastest vehicle, not meant to be, but it'll go. And most importantly, with all that torque, it'll go while it's got a bunch of stuff in it. The diesel engine in this van is actually one of the core reasons I decided to get a Sprinter over a Transit. So I'm going to go off on a little tangent, but I'm going to bring it back here. So when I was shopping for vans, there were only really two models of van that I was considering, the Sprinter and then the Ford Transit. So the reason I ended up going for the Sprinter was it was a lot easier to find one that was well equipped over a Transit. Lots of the Transits were just the naturally aspirated V6 engine, which is, you know, no slouch, but I think the diesel was the better way to go, especially for the long term, just being that these engines are designed to work very hard in a situation like this and be able to take it in stride and not wear out excessively. Now they do make a diesel version of the Transit, but those are extremely hard to find. I did not really have a lot of luck looking for one, and any one that I did find was not well optioned. So one of the things that drove me absolutely nuts when I rented the Transit van that I had back at the end of 2020 going out to Chuckwalla twice was the fact that it did not have cruise control. And when you're sitting on a freeway that's pretty much straight for 3 hours and you just have to hold your foot in a constant position, it's just a bad time. The first time I rented and drove that van to Chuckwalla, I recognized that, and I have no idea why I rented it the second time. I just don't think I really saw any better options out there for the money until the Sprinter that I ended up renting showed up, and that had a lot of the features that this van has, actually a lot more features, but it had the same radar adaptive cruise control that this van has, and I absolutely love that feature. It is so nice to just get on the freeway, set a max speed, and just steer. It's great. It brakes for you, slows you down. It'll even slow you down to a stop in traffic and then pick you back up. It's a truly amazing feature and just takes so much stress and fatigue away from the driving experience. So that was something I had to have after that. In addition to that, the Sprinter it feels much better built. It feels a lot more solid and stable and feels like it handles nicer than the Transit did. Even though the Transit that I had was a medium roof and a comparable wheelbase to this one, and this is the high roof, so there's a little bit more weight up top there, this van still drives much nicer. Feels a lot more stable on the freeway, feels a lot more precise in corners. Not that I'm doing any kind of crazy cornering in this thing, but the other thing too is it was a lot easier to find a high roof Sprinter van than it was to find a high roof Transit. The low roof and medium roof Transits are fairly common. Again, most of them have that naturally aspirated V6 engine, which I wasn't particularly interested in. It's very easy to find a Sprinter 2500 with that V6 turbo diesel and a high roof. Short wheelbase, long wheelbase, they're out there. So to talk dollars and cents, I purchased this van brand new. It was a 2020 model. I bought it in February of 2021. And I bought it for $50,000. That included tax, title, and licensing. And for all the options this van had on it, it was a very fair price. So in addition to the $50,000 that the van cost me, I added an extended warranty to the van for $1,357, which I just paid for up front. That extends the powertrain warranty from 3 years and 36,000 miles, which is the standard warranty, to 5 years and 100,000 miles. Just wanted to make sure that I had the coverage to really use this thing and not have to worry about it. That peace of mind was very valuable to me. I financed the van with no money down through my credit union, which is Navy Federal. I have excellent credit, so I was able to get their lowest interest rate. I financed this for 72 months at that rate of 2.29%. So my monthly payment is just a couple cents under $750. One of the plans that I have to offset the cost of owning this van, because I've been working from home for the last year, thanks to the pandemic. I'm not really sure what my future looks like in terms of returning to an office. So I don't use this every day. I see myself driving this thing maybe 1 or 2 weekends a month, and the rest of the time it's just going to be sitting. So my plan is to rent this out on Turo, just like the vans that I had rented before. And my hope is that I can get close to, if not right at, what this van costs me to own a month, which is $750 plus the $136 a month that I pay for my full coverage insurance. So that's about $886 a month. And if I could get close to that, even half of it, it'd be great. And I know that there's no guarantee that I'm gonna even rent this thing out once on Turo, so I'm totally prepared to pay for it on my own if I have to, but figure it makes sense to just throw it up there. Overall, I think the Turo move is smart and is just gonna help me out a lot in achieving my goal of becoming a motorcycle racer and sustaining it financially. And since, again, not gonna be driving the van regularly, I think that's really the best way to put it to use. Treating this thing more like an asset than a personal vehicle. But at the same time, I wanted to, get something that I was going to enjoy driving, get something that was going to keep me comfortable. I don't want to be all worn out when I'm getting to the racetrack after having driven 3 hours and then get out there and start spinning laps exhausted trying to focus. I want to be able to reserve that energy and my focus for the time I'm at the track, so I can focus on my lines, focus on using the brakes well, focus on opening the gas smoothly, just focusing on everything that's going to get me faster and keep me safer. And I think this is the best vehicle for the job. It's going to do a great job of hauling everything, and I've had the adaptive cruise control set here for the last 10 minutes. There's a car in front of me. I haven't touched the gas or the brake once. It's been really pleasant. I'm really looking forward to getting out on the racetrack and getting myself there in my own van for the first time. I'm super excited to do that and super excited to take some longer road trips in the next year or two here. I want to get up to Laguna Seca. I want to get out to Spring Mountain in Nevada, maybe Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Utah Motorsports Campus, and eventually Circuit of the Americas. So I'm super pumped to have this van and have the ability to get myself and my stuff to a racetrack anytime I want to go there. And it's going to be a blast. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, consider giving me a little click of the like button. No need to smash it, just a nice gentle click will do. Consider subscribing if you want to see more motorcycling related content, whether it be motorcycle racing or just me riding my Tuono V4 out around on the street. Got some exciting stuff in the works and some cool new content coming soon. If you do subscribe, I'd highly recommend enabling notifications. Click that little bell. You'll see more of me and more motorcycles, which is probably more interesting to you than me. But if you have any questions about the van or anything else about it and the purchase process, let me know. Drop a comment below. Love to have a conversation with you there. And yeah, let's be friends. So I will catch you in the next one. Take it easy and have a great weekend. Later.